Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. This week, I have with me Wendy Myers. She is a trauma informed wellness coach. And at 51, yes, she is 51, it pays off. She lives and breathes what she teaches for metabolic health, nervous system regulation, holistic well being that nourishes the mind, the body, and the soul. And what lights her up is awakening people to their power to claim freedom in their life. She equips her clients with practical tools to regulate their nervous system, respond instead of react, and to build lasting independence in their health. So, Wendy, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to dive into our topic today because you got two wellness coaches that are about to go ham on this. Like, I can feel it.
This may be a 5-hour episode.
That's all right. We'll make it happen. All right. So, start by telling everybody what it is that brought you to doing health and wellness. What gave you this
Ooh.
space?
Okay.
Lay it in there.
Okay. Yeah, I was an athlete since I was 4, and an elite level athlete where you have 2 practices a day since I was 8. And then nutrition was just part of that because I kind of geeked out. I was an 80s kid, so you were making your own food and everything like that. Whew. And then what got me here now is just the fact that at 44, I went in for blood work, and because I was having vertigo for a year. And
Mm,
I was like, okay, it's getting to the point where I can't drive my girls, and that was unsafe. So she looks
wow.
at me, and after she gets the blood work back, and she's like, I have this blood work that looks like you're dying, and I see a Greek statue in front of me. So what's going on? And she was a naturopath, which was awesome.
Okay.
And I knew nothing about trauma or nervous system or anything, just eating well. And she's like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. So it's so weird that we're going to do it again in 4 weeks. So fast forward 2 weeks, and I have a conversation with my mom where I kick her out of my life and say, you can, when you want to apologize, you can have a relationship with your only daughter and your only granddaughters. Until then, we won't talk. And that was 7 years ago. So, so fast forward 2 weeks more, and we do the test again and get it back. And she goes, I knew it was wrong. It's night and day. Right. So you and I both know now what that means. I had no
Yes.
idea what that meant, and neither did she. So she's sitting there. She's like, I know you keep exceptional logs because I've always had health issues, which makes sense with a life of trauma and abuse. And I've
Right.
always tried to figure out the patterns to try and figure something out for my health. So I was I kept bowel movement, sleep, stress. It was insane, right? And she's like, something had to have changed. And I'm like, no, nothing changed. It's all the same. She's like, okay, so since we don't know, we're going to do this again in 4 weeks. And I'm like, okay, all right. So she's like, go have a great week. And I turned around and said, oh my gosh, my weeks are amazing lately. And she goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, you said you didn't change anything. So we go back in and we sit down, and I share what I had done in kicking my
Mhm.
mom out. And then she asked questions like, why? And a half an hour later, she leans over and she goes, I don't really know how to tell you this, but you've been abused emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and religiously your whole life. And she didn't know sexually from my brother because I had put that so far.
Yeah.
And what do you do with that? 44 years old, and you're like, my entire life is a lie. Um, so I just went on about my life and was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm a Gen
Yeah.
Xer. We'll just shove it under the rug and do the good girl thing. Until,
We've done that with everything at this point. Might as well keep going.
right? So I was at my job where I was a wine manager and talking with a coworker, and we were just kind of shooting the breeze, and I threw this out because she's like, what's new? And I'm like, well, good, the weirdest thing happened. And so she starts asking me questions, and about an hour later, she's like, Wendy, I've been abused physically from my boyfriend the last 3 years, and I would take that over what you've gone through.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's when it like processed, because you're
Okay.
just like, okay, we all talk about physical abuse. That makes sense. That's something to grab onto, right? We don't talk about mental, emotional, religious, psychological. We don't talk about that. And to have her, in a sense, validate my experience, it like when I was sitting across from her, my brain just started going back and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's a sentence I wrote in my journal my entire marriage, and it was, at least he never hit me.
Oh my God, my
Yeah.
whole body just lit up in fucking
So
chills.
so you don't talk about that, right?
No.
So I didn't know what to do other than my life was a lie. And so, that typical funny phrase of therapy where you're like, I got angry. Well,
Yeah.
I was a pastor's wife. I didn't have money. I was homeschooling my girls in the midst of all that in a marriage that didn't even really exist, never existed. He's not a bad man. He's just, oh, that's a whole nother story. And you're just like, well, what do I do? So I just focused on, I was like, well, what do I want to do? And that's when I said to myself, for the first time in my life, I heard what I wanted, right? Which was never allowed before. And I wanted to bodybuild. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm bodybuilding. And I went back to my husband at the time and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this, because he had made, this was a long term thing where I wanted to do that in college. And he's like, you're already too bulky. You're too whatever. And I'd grown up being, love to me growing up was being abused.
Mhm.
So if you're going to love me, you're going to abuse me, obviously. So,
Right. So I'm gonna go abuse myself
right.
bodybuilding.
Right. So I was like, well, I'm going to go do this. You can stand behind me or you can get out.
Yeah.
And again, people ask me, like, how did you have the courage to do these things? And I'm just like, it wasn't courage at that point. It was just my body was so done that there wasn't any other thought. It was just, I'm not even here anymore, so why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I started bodybuilding, and I I was homeschooling my girls, and I was also substitute teaching on the side. And when I started bodybuilding and competing, my ex started, I mean, he was my husband at the time, he started at Instagram with my pictures of bodybuilding, and I got fired from teaching.
That's a whole nother
That's a
podcast.
whole nother. Oh, I went to the papers, I went to everything. And if it hadn't been in Oregon, I could have sued. But Oregon has a thing that if you are only part time, they can sue without reason, or they can fire you without reason.
Yeah. See, Louisiana has an act of will or whatever it is where you
Okay.
can do the same thing. You can fire for whatever reason.
Okay. Yeah. So I got fired. And of course, we know now, as the universe works, these things work to our favor. They're to get us out of a situation where we would have been dead just doing the job, right? And so I went into coaching and personal training. And I went into, then COVID shut down everything. So I went into nutrition, got my nutrition degree, and then went online, and I went through 3 years during that time of bodybuilding shows. And it was my ninth show where I finally won the overall as a natural girl, which is so insane, right? With NPC.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
freaking
standing,
hard.
it's hard. I'm standing up there winning their award. And within 20 seconds, I'm cutting myself down.
Hmm.
And I'm shaming myself and I'm not good enough and it's not whatever. And I just beat 16 druggers, right? And I'm not good enough. And I was like, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
so, so I got off that. And that's when my ex is like, okay, you've been using bodybuilding as not dating. You need to start dating. So for people that are like, that's so weird that your husband, because he was my husband at the time, um, he's got Asperger's. That's what we found out in that. That's that part of the story, is the reason that he never really was able to show me love or physical anything was because he has Asperger's. So he's asexual. So for him to say go date sounds weird to somebody who's attached to somebody emotionally, but he was not attached to me emotionally, right? So I start dating. I shouldn't say start. I only had a few dates. I got in the first 3 months, and this is going to be a trigger warning for anyone who's been assaulted. Um, I got catfished, and then I got raped, and then I got cheated on. And that's when I said, something's wrong. So something doesn't compute. And of course, for those of us who have been abused and those of us who've gone through the trauma, we blame it on ourselves, right? So I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I need to work on me. And again, just chucked it under the rug, right? Because there's nothing you can do about it. Your emotions aren't valuable or valid. So we're just
Right.
going to
Right.
push forward. Until 8 months later, I got triggered and didn't know that word. And I started doing the same research I always did to try and solve something because I gained 5 pounds of weight overnight. And so, as a nutritionist and a personal trainer, on paper, this looks great, right? I can do this. I can do why is that not working? Why? And I
Mhm.
couldn't
Mhm.
figure it out. So I finally researched it enough to be like, oh my gosh, maybe trauma. So I was like, well, I can pay a coach this much to help me, or I can pay a certification this much to get a certification and help my clients. So that's what led me to do what I do now.
Bruh.
Yeah.
First off, I'm gonna like hug you through this camera because that's a hard life. I mean, and I know a lot of people in the audience can deeply resonate with that.
Yeah.
So here's a question that I have though, because you're so resilient. Like I told you earlier today, like you just have this radiant light that just comes from you.
It's just pure.
What types of nervous, like, were you diving into nervous system at the time? Did you know anything about nervous system? Because you say triggered and you didn't even know what that was at the time.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
That's just my term for it now. I had no idea why I had gained this weight. No idea.
So, what did you start doing to heal from these wounds? Like, how did these awakenings start coming up for you that, oh my God, this is the answer?
Well, I think I just hoped. Like I was, because so again, the funny thing is this happened at the winery. I was talking to the same girl and telling her, "Oh my gosh, I can't lose this weight, 5 pounds." And of course, she's like,
Yeah.
"Wendy, it's 5 pounds, big deal." Well,
Oh, it
it
makes a
is a
difference.
big deal when you're a
Yes.
bodybuilder, you know.
Yes.
And so she's like, "Well, I don't know." And so we started researching, and I told her, I said, "Well, but trauma is for rape victims and military, and And she goes, "Wendy." I just, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so within 6 weeks of starting this certification for trauma healing, um, I started applying some of the stuff I was learning nervous system wise to my clients who had been, there's plateaus that we go through or there's roadblocks we have. And it's not about pushing harder. It's not about dialing in your diet more. It's
Yeah.
about our nervous system and our cortisol and our sleep and our stress and our past. Like if we have safety weight, that was my thing. A lot of rape victims have safety weight. Well, if I'm fatter, if I'm heavier, nobody will touch me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's very real. And you can't undereat that off. You
Right.
can't. You can't. Now, men in the fitness world will tell you otherwise. I argued this for probably 6 months before I was like, I'm done with y'all. I'm so
Those
done with
men.
y'all.
Here we go back to that again. That's a curse word on this podcast. We can't say that next. Just kidding.
So I had never, I mean, it's funny because, yeah, people have said my whole life, well, you're just the strongest woman I've ever met. And I got to the point where I resented that
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, I don't want to be. Sorry. We'd all love to have some guy, not save us because that's not what we are. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got tired of it, right? I got tired of it. So the truth is we all get to save ourselves first.
Mhm.
Whether a guy or girl, if we're expecting somebody else to save us, we're in a sense giving our power away, right? Like that's what people don't understand. If we are looking for something or someone to save us, that's us saying, I don't want this gift. I don't want this power. I don't want what you want to give me, universe. And so a big part of it was learning nervous system capacity that we fluctuate between these states and we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? How often do we get told, especially as women, be silent, don't share your voice, don't share your opinion, especially as a pastor's wife, be meek and mild. Oh my gosh. And, and you don't
Blessed
get
are the meek.
to you don't get to feel anything when in reality we're supposed to surf between ventral, or sympathetic and dorsal. We're supposed to. Our body
Yeah.
is meant for that, right?
Yeah.
And so I started to learn that and learn capacity. And then I think what really helped me was self-love. That's a core piece of what I coach people through, but I never take them through self-love until I've taught them nervous system, because as soon as you start to dive into self-love,
It's rejected. Yeah. It's just like, and to add to that, because I love that you're saying, and thank you for sharing your story. I love that you're in this space of like, I had to work on me. Because to finish what your statement was going to be of every woman wants a man that they could just, or a partner that they could just like cry into their arms, be the biggest sob baby, whatever. And we're just being cuddled and loved and petted and all the things. And that isn't everybody's reality. That's some women's reality out there, or some people's reality out there. And that's wonderful. But I know for me, that was never my reality either. And that was a hard thing too, because it was just this space of, I don't know, like what does that connection look like? How is there some people that have this person? And kind of like you're talking about, like I'm the problem. Well, what the fuck is wrong with me? How come I don't have that? I want that.
I want
How do
that.
you,
I want what
what does
she's
A
having.
plus B equal to get C? Like, how do I get that? But you're absolutely right. It starts with self-love. It starts with connecting with you. And if you can't connect with you, nobody else can connect with you.
Nope. It's huge. It's spiraled into my relationship with my daughters, and I had to finally admit that although I had sacrificed my very soul to stay with a man who didn't love me for 30 years, for them,
Yeah.
that was an act of not much sacrifice that I thought it was. Because
Yeah.
I didn't truly love them in a way I love them now, because I didn't love myself. And
Yeah.
until we love ourselves, we can't really truly love somebody else. And that's a very harsh truth, because most of us don't love ourselves.
And that's so true because you talk about bodybuilding and I bodybuilding as well and pick yourself apart. Like you watch the stage and you're like, how the fuck did I win that? This person clearly looked better. Judges like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because we're sitting in that space of comparison constantly.
Yeah.
It's that space of I'm not good enough. And
Yeah.
so self-worth wounds come in and just tack that shit down. And you get to a point where at some point when you're that freaking low, the
Yeah.
only way to go is up. So at some
Yeah.
point you're picking your pieces up to say, how do I deserve what you have? How do I deserve this?
Yeah.
And it's not always about looking at the past. Because I was in the same boat, even on the trauma side of things. Oh, this is meant for big T trauma. I didn't have big T trauma. Well, yeah, I did. Sitting there with my therapist one day going through all the woes of my life. And she's like, I'm sorry. Do we need to look at the definition of domestic violence? Do we need to look at the definition of these things and what abuse is? And I'm like, I've been through this before. That's so weird. What do you mean?
What do you mean? This is just normal.
Everybody goes through this, right? And I mean, she broke it down for me and she was like, no, but here's your patterns. Here's
Mm.
how this, affects your health. And I remember this one commitment that I made to myself. I was literally honoring that I was you talk about magical weight loss is what we call it. And
Yeah.
I made the commitment, I don't want to bodybuild anymore.
Mm.
Girl, I lost 8 pounds that week.
Oh,
I don't even fucking to this day because I
that's
didn't change shit.
inflammation. So inflammation. No,
It was a release.
it's so wild when you get this, and I love when my clients get it, because they'll give me their numbers. We'll have a conversation on Monday and I'll be like, so what do you need to say about your weight? And they're like, well, it's a little stressful. So I'm sure after my talk with you, I'll probably drop 3 pounds. And I love when they get that, because They understand that it's not food. It's not, and it's not that you have this big bowel movement either. Lots of people are expecting that. Oh, I'm gonna have this big. It's
I took a 3-pound shit, man.
just inflammation, right? That just disappears.
Yeah. And that cortisol,
Right?
man, like
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Trauma just sits anywhere and everywhere it freaking wants to, and wherever you deem for it to create safety.
Yep, that fascia. I swear, if healthcare really cared about us getting healthy, it would demand us to all have a massage once a month.
Done. You don't even have
Done.
to say that twice. How
I
about
know.
every other week?
I mean, I'd love that. I'd love that. But especially for like people like the first massage I had, I hope this isn't too much TMI, but I had
Bring
never
it
really been
on.
touched ever I was a virgin. I married a man who never touched me. We procreated 3 times. That was it. And I'm 46, about to step on stage, and I'm having this, thankfully it was a woman, woman touch me, because otherwise I would have been shit.
Can't have another man touch me, but thank you for this amazingness.
Because I'm sitting here going, I just remember sitting on the bed going, wait, my hands have feeling? Wait, my toes? Wait, my elbow?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Because you
That's
become so
healing.
numb.
Yes, and that's where most of society is, right? Whether you're married or not married, it doesn't matter. So many people, when I started sharing my story, because when people, and I didn't understand this because I had been told I was ugly my whole life, I was told I was fat my whole life, and then I had a husband that never touched me, okay?
Have you
So
seen you? Do
and
do do I need to get you
that's
a mirror?
okay, well that's what people think instantly of me, right? So when I get to share my story and they see this, say I've never been touched, they understand that I get it. And so much of society is hurting because they don't get
Yeah.
touched, right? We don't get touched, and we're supposed to. We're supposed to connect with hugs, with handshakes, with that's what we're meant for. And so a massage, it's not just fascial trauma release, it's connection, it's
Yeah,
energy.
it is.
It's it's amazing.
It is. And it's amazing. It's not just getting up off the table and being like, "Oh, I feel better." Because I think a lot of times, especially for women who have been through abuse, whether it's sexual, emotional, anything, it's love at some point became transactional.
Yeah.
It was, well, if I hold your hand, I expect you're going to give me sex later. Okay, when did 2 + 2 = 8? Still trying to figure this out. And it's that physical touch, words of affirmation, all those love languages. Everybody has all of them. Because think about it. If I get you a gift and it's something thoughtful, you're not going to be like, bitch, I hate gifts, go return that. You're going to be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, look at this.
Can I have words of affirmation instead, please?
Can I have this? Go return that. Just be like, thanks for being you. One of my best gifts is not. Now I do love my birthday of gifts a lot. I do love those because that is something I've had to work on being acceptable of receiving. So
Yeah.
I am open to receiving,
Oh,
and that has
fantastic.
grown. One of my best friends gets me a gift, and it's body spray, and I'm like, girl, like I turn it around and I look at it, and it's from Bath and Body Works,
Oh
and I'm
no.
over here like, man, I'm all into the natural stuff. Like if
This
it
is
was
an
essential
endocrine disruptor.
oils. And I look at it and it says the evil queen. And I was like, oh, I am so going to love this. Girl, that's my favorite body spray in the entire world. It had nothing to do, now that it does smell good, had nothing to do it. And it also has gold body glitter in it. So
Oh,
brought me to life, brought me to life.
glitter,
Yes, ma'am.
glitter. A Leo needs a glitter.
Thank you so much for recognizing.
she,
She did it right. She did it right.
she did.
But that was the purpose behind, like when I looked at that, I was like, you do love me.
That's cool.
It was the thought of, my favorite villain.
That's cool.
Sorry, princesses. My favorite villain, and it's the Red Queen. Like, this is it. Thank you.
That's
Thank
cool.
you. And it brought so much deeper. One of my best friends, she goes to Disneyland over in Paris, and she's like, okay, favorite Disney princess. And she goes, never mind, squash that. Favorite Disney villain. And I was like, well, if I really had to pick, we're going to go with the Red Queen first, and then we're going to go into Maleficent. Well,
Mm.
apparently they didn't have the Red Queen or whatever. And she gave me Maleficent. And I was like, this is
Oh,
the best gift
I
ever.
love Maleficent.
It just sits on my fridge. I love it. Every time I look at it, I'm like, thoughtfulness. This person
That's
loves me,
cool.
you know?
So
So
cool.
I think when it comes to healing, it's that when we do self-love, we're opening
Mhm.
up to parts that we've just shunned off.
Yes. Yes. And that's the huge, I don't know if you see this with your clients, but as soon as they start to get self-love, then they get those promotions at work. And all of a sudden, people are more receptive to them. And all of a sudden, they're getting gifts for their birthday and people are remembering them. And they're like, wait, but I'm the same person. I'm like, no, no, you're not.
You're not. That
Because
version
when
of
we
you is
don't love
not.
ourselves, people see that. They feel that vibration of you're not enough. So why am I going to treat you special? Right?
And that's the people you tend to surround yourself with. It's not, and
Exactly.
it's not on purpose.
No.
It's how the energy attracts when the vibrations and the frequencies of your body match. Think about it. You walk into a room. Here we go, a woman in the room. You walk into a room and you can feel the vibrations of other people. You see the person across the room who's like tapping and doing all the whatever, and you're like, God, that's a lot. I don't
That's a
want to
lot
be
of
around that.
energy.
You see another person who has the ick energy, and you're like, you're going to go jive with the energy you already are and the
Right.
frequency either that you want to surround yourself with or the frequency that you're already connected to, whether you
Right.
understand it or you don't. It's how bodies work. And when you talk about hug somebody. There's a girl recently, I gave her a hug, and I mean, it was like distant and patty pat pat. And I'm
Oh,
like, bitch, come in for the hug. And it was just like, let me hug you. And her entire demeanor changed after.
no.
Because I think,
Yeah.
again, it's
Healing.
love, it's healing.
And
That's
we
the
don't give
brilliant.
ourselves that.
Yeah.
We're not taught that, especially with religion and being a female. It's all about self-sacrifice and give, give, give for everybody else because you're not worth anything. And that's what I was raised with. But that is the vibration because if you don't think you're worthy, your brain is not going to feel safe around people who all of a sudden give you compliments. So you're not going to stay around those people because they're unsafe. We don't know why, but they were too nice. They must have another agenda or
Yeah.
something, right? Right. So you start to love yourself and all of a sudden those compliments mean something and you feel worthy of being around those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that, we're going to go deeper because I'm going to ask you as far as what are some of the exercises that you do give your clients? If they're in that space of like, oh, I reject compliments, that's transactional. They want something. How do you teach them out of that? Like, what are things, the nervous system regulation tools or whatever that you work with them to support them in that self-love?
So I'm a little different than most somatic coaches
Perfect.
in that I have a teacher background, right? So I'm not going to get into, I know breath work works. I know yoga works. I know this works and that works. Okay. When you're in the middle of a stressful situation, do you have time to do yoga?
No,
No. And as much
no.
as we want to say we have time to do breath work, there's only a few breath work exercises that work when you're in the middle of a situation in a meeting, right? So I'm not a big, I do teach them those things, but on the side, my main focus is teaching them how the nervous system works and how they can work with their nervous system every day. So I'm big on gratitude. I'm big on being present. I'm big on grounding yourself in situations, which is basically being present, right?
Hmm.
And we do this even through food because one of the things that people do when they're gaining weight or can't lose weight is they aren't tasting anything. They're not tasting it. We're shoving food down our throat because we got to go there, or we got to go here, or we're eating while we're driving, or we're eating while we're on a meeting. And so we aren't getting the presence of what something tastes like, what something smells like. We aren't enjoying it. Like you ask people, one of my first questions is, do you enjoy your meals? And they're like, no.
Nope.
Like,
I just eat it.
okay. So my story of And I'm getting to your point. My story that I share with everybody to kind of make this just ground it into them is when I had three little girls, it was in Texas, and we were dirt poor. My husband at the time was in seminary, and I loved Dove chocolate. So I would get a
Mm.
bag for my birthday and Christmas. That was it. So these were like luxury, right? I would do one a day, once in a while, because of course it would have to last. Never failed if you have kids. Any woman listening to this, like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Never fails. You
Yeah.
pop it in your mouth and it's mom, mom, mom.
I want one. Can I have one? What are you
Right.
eating?
So, well, and it wasn't even about that. But it was about, well, you got to chew it really fast to answer the question. And I did that about 5 times. And one, I was mad at the cost because I couldn't go buy a new bag. So I wasted the Dove chocolate. And then I was mad at even if I wanted to eat another one and pay for it, it was extra calories and I was really calorie, this
I
was,
understand. Yeah.
so I got to the point where when they would come to me, I would spit my Dove chocolate in my hand. No joke. Put it on a plate, tackle the situation, go back and get that piece of chocolate off the plate and sit somewhere where I could enjoy it. Now, that is a very crass description, but it's what we need to do with every meal. If
Yeah.
we are not enjoying that meal, we are not present, we are not grounded. Like you should be able to hear what's going on. I can tell you, I eat dinner out on my patio and I can tell you 5 different birds. I can tell you what the sunset looks like. I can tell you what my neighbor's doing. I can tell you my cats jump up. I can tell you lizards crawl through. I can tell you that because my breakfast and my dinner, my lunch not so present because that's in between clients. But lunch, breakfast and dinner are very, very, very present and they bookcase my day. Right? So that brings me my calm. And I guess if there's anything, those are the things I teach my client is to find moments where you can be present and calm because we're going to do this all day.
Mhm.
Ventral, sympathetic, dorsal. And then when you go up into sympathetic, that's a good thing, right? So we're
Mhm.
in fight or flight, but that's a good thing. Back to ventral. If you can bring ventral to your situations, you now have capacity to handle fight or flight and dorsal. And that's the key because we're not going to live in ventral. We're pretty much mostly going to live in fight or flight. So if we can bring green, I use it as a stoplight, green, yellow, red, right?
Yeah.
If we can bring green to our yellow and our red, we have the tool. Now, if that's breath work for you, great. I have yet to meet somebody who can be in the middle of a meeting and sit there and do half an hour of breath work. I'm
Or in the
sorry,
middle of a conflict.
doesn't work. You
Yeah.
can't do a yoga pose in the middle of a conflict. You can't do all of this great somatic work. So, what I find with somatic work is it's frustrating to me. And because as I'm learning the yin and yang of Chinese medicine, all of these somatics modalities are just more doing, more fixing, especially
Mhm.
for the female who's already yin depleted, right? So we are
Mhm.
constantly going, oh, I need to go take yoga. Oh, I need to go do this. Oh, I need to go do that. Oh, I need to go do that. What about sitting with your breakfast and being present with it? It's too
That's
easy, Wendy. It's too
God,
easy.
that's so amazing. So this morning, I will say this, I am a fast eater. Even we're just gonna go ahead and be transparent
That's
with
your
ourselves.
bodybuilding. That was me too.
It is. It is because that's exactly it. When I was bodybuilding, it was in between anything and everything. Hurry up, shove the food in your face, and dear
Yep.
God, don't throw up because then you got to eat it again because you just lost all
Yeah.
those calories. And
Yep.
so it was eat fast. I remember one time going on a date and I remember eating a hamburger because that's what I wanted. And I was
Yep.
bodybuilding. I was bodybuilding at the time. So the guy that I was dating, who I'm still dating today, was like, bruh, by the time I ate, and we went to walk-ons. So I got a ginormous hamburger and French fries. He got sliders and we shared mozzarella sticks. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Bruh, we were already done with the mods. I finished mine by the time he finished one. And then
Yep.
he gets his plate. I get my plate. And by the time this dude literally took one bite, asked a question, half my damn hamburger was gone. He was like, I don't know if I should be scared or if I should tell you to slow down. Do you drink? I haven't heard a peep out of you. And to this day, it's the same thing. We still, whenever we're eating dinner, he's like, babe, I don't get it. Like, you're done with dinner. And I do look because I'm trying to match his pace. I'm like, this man is here to teach me to slow down in eating. And I can't do it. I'm watching him and I'm like, I think I'm good. I think I'm on the same pace. And by the time I look back, I'm like, fuck, mine's gone. His is still there. And he's still, I'm like, dude.
What are you doing? We were separated at birth, I swear. Because it's so great too being a small girl, 5'3", because burgers are my thing too. It's bodybuilding, right? Burgers, bodybuilding, it's beef and fries. And it never fails that my guy friends are all like 6'4", right? And so you're sitting there eating a burger and they look over, they've taken 2 bites and they're like, where the hell did you put that?
There was one time where we went and like pizza and burgers, that was my jam, pizza and burgers. And then one year it was straight up Mexican. Like
Okay.
it was like, bro, we are done with the tacos. And I'm like, I'm still going strong, man. Still going strong. Give me the queso. And I'd be done. I'd be literally done. The other person's like, I don't, where do you, do you need another meal? And I'm like, I might, because I'm still.
Need my arm? You want my arm?
My friends still do this. I'm like, Macy, they're like, teach us to slow. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I am practicing. But I will say this morning, you talk about being present at breakfast. It may not happen the rest of the day. This morning, so I do eggs. I did 3 eggs with grits this morning.
Okay.
And I watched myself smash my eggs and like watch the yolk go. And I'm like, I don't think I ever like looked at this. And like how this mixes. And then I tasted my first. The only reason I'm saying this morning, I was intentional and it was out on accident because I took my first bite and I'm like, God, I do love this breakfast. I eat this breakfast every day. And I'm like, I really love this breakfast. Now, I don't remember any more bites after that. However, I remember like smashing the eggs and watching the yolk go into the grits. And I'm like, this is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the whole meal either. Because I mean, obviously, when we have kids, what I would do is I had cheesecake for breakfast once a week. That was my thing. I make cheesecake and I loved it. And so it was I'm a huge cheesecake fan.
So when's the invite to your house tonight?
Yeah, you can come on over. I've got like a cheesecake and a half in the freezer. Yes. So I would have it for breakfast because it was like it would give you the energy. Because if you had it at night, you're crashing. And that's the whole bodybuilding thing, right? We're not going to have carbs after. So I would pick it on the day when I homeschooled. So I would pick it on the day they had tests first in the morning so that I could have quiet. I didn't know what I was doing. That was just my sanity of the week. Now I know that was my nervous system going, okay, I need some sanity. So like the other thing I teach is just 60 seconds of gratitude or what do I see? Right. I don't like the whole 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know that's a big thing.
I don't like
and it just drives me nuts. But I can be like, oh, wow, I see. I love that bird. I love the way the light. So for me, it's more, what do I love? What am I drawn to? Right. And it depends on where I'm sitting. 60 seconds of that completely charges your vagus nerve in a positive way. And then you can make it. So my thing more is set yourself up for success instead of bring yourself out of failure, right?
Oh, say that again.
Set yourself up for success instead of bringing yourself out of failure.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. I'm going to sit with that. And it's true that you say that. So yesterday, we were in a woman in the room group, and I want to take the note from it because she said this about being present. She mentioned that when you're being present and being visible, And it was something that our room needed to hear. She said, "You're either too busy performing for the enemy rather
Mm.
than showing up for the one person who's aligned." And so
Wow.
that's the same thing that you're saying here. Instead
That
of
was good. I like
getting,
that.
fixing yourself out of failure, you're just being present for the love and the joy that just exudes from you.
Right. We miss so much because we're so busy. We're
Yeah,
wearing so many hats. We don't see the people in front of us. Get off your damn phone.
that's right. And stop
Right.
worrying about the petty, stupid shit. That doesn't
Yeah.
even matter. Is it going to
Right.
matter years later when Bobby Joe didn't like you? She was probably better out of your life, if we're being honest. Imagine the whirlwind if she was there. I mean, like, it's silly things in those moments. Is this going to matter in my life 5 years from now? What do I
10
need to take
months.
away?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And I think that's a huge thing too of women getting over the 45 to 50 mark. We're just like, fuck that.
I don't fucking care anymore. I'm
I'm
35 and I
done.
don't fucking
I'm
care.
done.
I'm an
You're
old
entering.
woman. I'm an old
But
woman. I'm
that's
in bed by 8:30. Like, I'm sorry.
love that. But that's perimenopause, menopause, right? That's no, and this is so key. This is what I love teaching women. Is this is a sacred transition. This is such a sacred transition.
Oh,
It is
it's not so sacred
it's
right
it's
now.
sacred. It's sacred. We just don't see it as sacred because we're so depleted. We were never supposed to be this depleted going into perimenopause and menopause, but because we are, we see all of the people, telling us, oh, you could have 74 symptoms. Can we fear monger women anymore? Like we're
Yeah.
trying, I get it that we didn't validate them for so long. It was you're a whiny woman. Okay, that's not the right way. That's this side of the pendulum. But now we're on this side of the pendulum where it's like, oh, how many things can go wrong with you? I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
can't we just be like, this is a beautiful transition? Because if you look back, shaman women were menopausal.
Hmm.
The leaders of any kind of tribe, menopausal women. In nature, the leaders of elephant tribe or whales, menopausal females. It's
Because they were
because we
in
carry the wisdom.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And when
beautiful.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I have tried to sit with that.
Hey, I'm not saying it's
Symptoms.
easy.
Yeah, no, it isn't. The symptoms are the worst. So when you're up late at night, be thinking about the elephants and how you could be so much wiser. But it's so true that
Write a book
yeah,
instead.
through that transition, it's transitional. And we were never meant to work this hard, this heavy
No,
at this season
no,
up to this point.
no.
It's why some women also now, we can look at it through the environment, being on birth control, at such a young
Yeah,
age, or do this, do that, or whatever trauma, all the things. We've got symptoms showing up a lot sooner. We've got women starting in their 30s,
I know.
but everything was already changing and shifting in your 30s. I think we just honestly made it a lot harder.
We did. We with the roles reversed, and you've got your women being masculine. And if you take it into Chinese medicine, you've got the yang and you've got the yin. And women are yin. Now we both have both energies, right?
Right,
But
right.
women are mostly at the core yin and men are yang. So society expects us to act and work from yang. Well, that's great when you're a male and you're made of that. But when you're yin and you're constantly depleting, plus, as a female, our yin gets depleted every time we have a cycle, which is every month, and
Yeah.
every time we have a kid. I, I,
Oh,
I
I
mean,
do.
so we're depleted before, even if we weren't working like we all are, we're so depleted just from being a female because we're supposed to be the yin. We're supposed to be the soft, the flow. And that doesn't mean we don't lead. We lead with our soft, right? This is a whole nother.
Yeah, we're not saying that men deserve that patriarchal thing. That's not what
No,
we're
no, we're
saying.
not. Not saying
We're
that.
saying lead from the soft feminine energy that already has a command and a power
Yeah.
without you having to say or do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's from inspiration. It's women lead from inspiration, and men are supposed to be the follow through, not the leaders.
Hmm. That's another topic. So, but before we don't answer that question, We could sit here and Macy could have a joy in this questionnaire, but we're not going to do that. We're
No,
going to
it's
honor
good.
space.
Focus. We'll focus.
Yeah, focus. I'm trying to get my thoughts back. Um, so one question that I have for you, for our listeners, anybody that's struggling right now, anybody that's been in same shoes, walk same paths, what's one piece of advice you want to give to him or her right now?
Mm. I'm going to say kind of what we were just talking on is love yourself enough to see yourself as worthy. We don't see ourselves as worthy. We're not, especially as women, we spend money on our kids, we spend money on our husbands, we spend money on our pets. Do we spend money on us? Like one of the things I tell all of my clients, the first thing is congratulations for putting yourself first for once, whether it's a male or a female, because coaching is a huge investment in you. And how often do we do that? We don't, right? We don't do it. We think a vacation is an investment in us. No, it's not. No, it's not. Coaching, getting a mentor, somebody willing to change your life, and not that they change it, but they help you change it, right? So taking agency, taking ownership, taking the power back, right? If you want the power of your life, you can have it, but you have to take it. And that means you have to give yourself enough love to see yourself as worthy. Because I had to see myself as worthy to change. There
Yeah,
wasn't another way around it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for our conversation today.
No, thank you.
I
That was fun.
enjoyed this. This
This
was
is
fun.
fun.
And, we're having all the cut up and all that great stuff because I love all that too.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you, how they can get connected to you, and how they
Okay.
can work with you.
Okay, so I know I have a Facebook, but I don't ever really go to it.
So
So
don't go to her Facebook.
so don't do Facebook. You can always, I mean, I don't know if I should give a phone number, but on Instagram is pretty much where I check the most.
Okay.
Um, Instagram and then person, but a website, my website has you can fill out a form to just ask me a question. So fill out the form on the website, which is phoenixrising.fitness.
And we'll put that in the
Yeah.
description. Yeah.
Or you can just send me an email, which is contact@phoenixrising.fitness. Either way, I will respond.
We'll put
Yeah.
all of that in there. And so thank you for today. Thank you for just all of your amazingness, your light radiating through the world, because that's what I think I've told you this like 4 times today. We're going to keep going on. In case you needed more words of affirmation, here
Words
you
of
go.
affirmation.
Thank you so much for today. And as always, guys, we will catch you on the flip side.